Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of What's Driving Token Prices. I'm your host, Katie Talati, Director of Research at Arca. For those joining us for the first time, I'm responsible for identifying and analyzing digital asset and blockchain opportunities for Arca's funds. As part of our research, my team and I examine token prices and the market events that act as catalysts for price change. Based on our research and market events over the past week, here are some notable token price movements and what we think drove these moves. As a reminder, this commentary is not intended to be investment advice, investment research, or an investment recommendation. Please consult your investment professional for your own circumstances. Well, everyone, after last week's crazy volatility, it seems that we are in a bit of a no man's land for crypto right now. We've had some false starts. We did see Bitcoin finally closing in maybe on gold yesterday, as gold did retrace quite a bit in the last couple days. We've seen the equity markets just completely shoot up, but crypto has been kind of not the best. The government shutdown does continue, which has in the digital asset land affected a bunch of ETF filings that we were waiting to come out in the next few days. The other big news is that Coinbase acquired Echo and Sonar, which are ICO and syndicate platforms, respectively. The price tag on those was $375 million. And then today, actually, Falcon X announced that they have acquired ETF issuer 21 shares. So the M&A space is definitely heating up. But we got tokens, as always, to talk about here. So first up, I'm going to talk about Helium. So over the weekend, Nova Labs, which is the entity behind telecommunications deepen project Helium, announced that it will begin buying HNT tokens on the open market. So this is essentially going to transition Helium from using the HNT, or Nova Labs is going to start, instead of using the HNT in their treasury to fund data credit purchases, then they're going to start buying HNT on the open market. So just for those who are not familiar with Helium, the network is designed based on a supply and demand function for the token, where users that provide internet access via hotspots are rewarded in HNT tokens that they mine by offering the access. Then users on the opposite end pay with data credits, that is what they're called, to access the provided internet. Data credits, though, can only be purchased with HNT. And when somebody purchases data credits, that HNT that is used to make the purchase is burned and permanently removed from circulation. What this means, so kind of the data credits, so basically what this means is that as usage increases on the network and outstrips any emissions on the supply side, the HNT in theory should have a deflationary mechanism. So about 2 months ago, Nova Labs announced that all their Helium mobile revenue, which previously flowed directly to that lab's entity, was going to be redirected on-chain and reflected in the data credit burns. So this immediately actually increased those daily burns from about $18,000 per day to they're at $50,000 per day now. And it actually now zeroes out any daily new HNT emissions just based on those burns. However, Nova Labs was using, like I said, the HNT in their treasury to purchase these data credits. The new commitment to purchase the HNT on the open market should create a constant daily bid for HNT and reaffirm Nova Labs' commitment to raising the value of HNT. HNT, though, has had pretty poor performance this year, which is probably one of the reasons why they are working to do this. It is down 69% just in 2025. Finally, in that same announcement, Nova Labs hinted that they are exploring the possibility of launching a digital asset treasury or DAT company to bring Helium to the masses. Despite the positive announcement, Helium is still down 15% for the week. That token cannot catch a break. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about Jito. So last week, Jito, which is Solana's largest liquid staking provider, received a $50 million investment from the prominent VC fund A16Z. So the investment was made through a private token sale between A16Z and Jito, the terms of which were not publicly disclosed. The funding's going to assist Jito in the development of one of its many products. One of their big products lately that was I talked about a couple months ago is called BAM, the block assembly machine, and that's basically this whole new infrastructure for ordering transactions to prevent front running on Solana. And the big reason this is important is that this could potentially pave the way for new DeFi products in the ecosystem, such as fully on-chain order books that don't get front run, etc. So just if you're not familiar with Jito, they're the third largest DApp on Solana. They have about 2.8 billion in TVL. With this really great announcement, though, the token did trade up briefly, but it is back down, and it ended the week down 7.5%. All right. Last up is BeraChain. So on Monday, it was announced that BeraChain, a layer one protocol using the novel proof of liquidity mechanism, is going to launch a digital asset treasury company, or DAT for short. So this DAT is aiming to raise about $110 million with Polychain Capital anchoring the deal. We're also seeing a bunch of other big name investors like blockchain.com, Citizen X, DAO5, Kraken, and North Rock Digital. So as with most of these, it's going to be raised via a pipe into a NASDAQ listed company called Green Lane Holdings, ticker GNLN, if you'd like to check it out. Half the proceeds from this $110 million raise are going to be raised via cash, and then they will be purchasing the Bera on the open market, and the other half will be contributed in kind. Like with other debts, their plan is to do additional off-the-money offerings to increase the price per share and increase the value overall for the holdings of this product. If you're not familiar with BeraChain, they launched to much fanfare earlier this year, but they've lost, unfortunately, a chunk of their TVL in the competitive market environment. At one point, their TVL was over $7 billion about a month after launch, but it has since dwindled to just $900 million. But with this, the BeraChain announcement was good for the token. It's up 7.1% on the week. All right, guys, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed our insights. Tune in here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to hear what's driving token prices.